Storytellers. I've had a couple of requests to help you with the homework on Thursday today. So I'm going to do 5 and 6 from the Thursday's homework so you can watch me do it and see if that helps. Okay, number 5, we're trying to solve this, okay? The key thing here is we want to solve by factoring for 5 and 6. So if I look at these two separate terms separated by a plus sign, they have a cosine in common. So I'm going to pull out the cosine, and I'll be left with sine, because remember factoring is dividing. So I'm left with sine x plus 1. And when you have two factors both equal to 0, you can set each factor equal to 0 by itself. Okay, and then where does cosine, we're doing it between 0 and 2 pi. 0 is included, 2 pi is not, according to this. And where does cosine equal 0? Well, on your unit circle, cosine equals 0 here and here, right? Because you didn't go left to right. So the answer to this part of it is pi over 2, comma, 3 pi over 2. Now I'm going to do this part, sine x equals -1. So I think about where does sine equal -1. Well, guess what? That's right here. So it's the same answer we had, 3 pi over 2. I don't need to list it separately. So my final answer is just these two, okay? Because we were restricted to just 0 to 2 pi. All right, number 6. Ooh, this one's challenging. This is a trinomial. And I've got a squared term and a constant term, linear term, and a constant term. So what you might want to do is let cosine x equal, and you can choose a letter X or A. I'll choose A this time. I think on the answer key I chose X. So if I was to say that cosine x equals A, this would become 2a squared minus a minus 1. That's a trinomial that we're going to factor. Okay, well, it's got a leading coefficient, so you multiply 2 times -1, you get -2. You're going to split the middle. What multiplies to -2 that adds to -1? That's going to be -2 and 1. So you're going to go 2a squared minus 2a plus 1a minus 1. And then you group the first two and group the second two. So you pull out an a minus 1, and you pull out a 1, because the 1's a factor of everything, a minus 1. And you get 2a plus 1 times a minus 1 equals 0. Now remember, we substituted in a for cosine, so this is really 2 cosine x plus 1 equals 0, and cosine x minus 1 equals 0, because I replaced a with cosine x. I substituted it back in. So this would be, if I subtract 1 and divide by 2, this would be cosine x equals -1/2, and this would be cosine x equals 1. Again, we're restricted to here, so we want to figure out, where does cosine equal -1/2? Well, cosine's going to be -1/2 here and here, and that is the answer. So for this part, for cosine x equals -1/2, you're going to get pi over 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3, because that's here and here. And then for cosine x equals 1, where does cosine equal +1? Well, that's only here. We're only including 0 and 0, but not 2 pi because of the soft brackets. So for this part, I'll just say 0. So my answer is these 3 pieces. I hope that's what I put on the answer key. I'll have to double check. All right, you guys, happy Thursday. I'm so proud of you. You're doing awesome, and you're all working hard. And next week, we go live with Zoom, so we'll be able to communicate a little bit better. All right, have a great day.